Let me go across to Sahil. Is also this on the broadcast with the latest that is picking up from ground. Sahil, can we say that the identification process is perhaps over? That's the reason why we also now are picking up that at 5 p.m. there'll be a very, very important presser by the Indian Army where we'll get to know more details about the operation.
Well, yes, exactly. The first phase of operation was to basically eliminate all these 3 terrorists, and that stands completed. Second leg of the operation was to bring down 3 dead bodies and, in fact, the arms and ammunition that the security forces recovered from the spot, and that too stands completed, while the security forces, Indian Army and the SOG of Jammu and Kashmir Police is carrying out a detailed search operation in the area, and that we are given to understand will continue for some days because they are looking for more terrorists in the area, or for more footprints of terrorist movement in the area. But yes, the joint verification process, which will be basically conducted. One is the body is reached to PCR Srinagar. There the security forces jointly, in fact, conduct the verification. But the pictures that have, in fact, come from the encounter spot has also helped security agencies to basically come to sort of conclusion at this point in time that among 3 terrorists eliminated by the security forces in this particular operation, one is said to be the, in fact, Pakistani terrorist Sulaiman, or alias Musa, who was wanted, and in fact the Pahalgam terror attacker. And in this way, it's big success for the security forces. We will have to wait for the final, in fact, press release or details that Indian Army is going to share with us. And we are picking up from the sources that around 5 p.m. There will be, in fact, a press conference or sort of details will come out officially from Indian Army and Jammu and Kashmir Police. We'll have to wait for that, but it was in fact well planned anti-terror operation that was carried out. Security forces, in fact, going inside this forest area, which is dense forest area, and you in fact can see pictures of this forest area where this operation is taking place. It was a difficult terrain, but it basically shows the professionalism of Indian Army and how skillful they are when it comes to carrying out anti-insurgency operation in these forest areas, deep inside forests or on high mountains. But the search operation will continue for some time. They are looking for the more footprints, and there will be, in fact, parallelly an investigation by the Jammu and Kashmir Police to find out the local support or the OGW network that helped these terrorists to, in fact, hide in this particular forest area, to build a hideout there, and the people who were basically providing them logistical support, like food and other items. So it will be a part of investigation now, but yes.
Absolutely. Sahil, stay on with me. Let me also go across to Shreya once again. Shreya, and I'm just talking about the images that we have accessed about the grenades that have been recovered from the site. And, you know, one look at the terror hideout, the visuals and the images of that. Either they were going to be, you know, planning another attack, or they were anticipating that there could be a contact established by forces. Look at the number of grenades that were recovered from the site.
Actually, you know, an educated guess will be I'll go with your previous assessment, Swati, here, that is it possible that on a day when Parliament is debating Operation Sindoor, was that the plan? Was the plan to orchestrate another terror attack? If you look at the arms and ammunition, the cache of arms that has been recovered, and the pictures on our screens, that is the story that is that is exactly the story that is telling me. Possibly, because, you know, one of the things that terrorists aim to do is to make headlines. And what bigger headline than to have India's parliament debate Operation Sindoor and the Pahalgam attack, and another big attack happens in Srinagar. So possibly that is what they are orchestrating, were orchestrating. Initial reports are telling us that the first tip-off came to the forces via a local, possibly nomads, who spotted some suspicious men moving around in the jungle. So that is where the first spotting takes place. At about 11:30 is when the first contact is made. Intense gunfire for 1 hour, post which now things are becoming clear that at least 3 terrorists have been eliminated. Of them, at least 2 are foreign terrorists. And one thing that is almost now confirmed is the fact that the mastermind of the Pahalgam terror attack here in India, look, there'll be a mastermind in Pakistan as well. You know, someone heading it from the Lashkar-e-Taiba side as well. But the man who was responsible for orchestrating Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir He goes by many names. Suleiman is the name that we know him by right now, but he's also called Musa Fauji. Musa Fauji has been eliminated. Now, Swati, if I can take another minute and talk to our viewers about this entire identification process that we are talking about. What is this identification parade? Essentially, before you go to the press and before you go to the country and say conclusively and authoritatively that, yes, we have managed to neutralize / kill the butcher of Pahalgam, you need to be 100% sure. And how can you be 100% sure? There are people who have seen these men, right? When Pahalgam happened, logistical support was provided to them. The NIA had questioned 14 people. In fact, some were arrested as well. Now, these 3 bodies will be shown to those overground workers. In fact, Bhavtosh has just put out information that tells us that just to be sure, they will possibly even show these bodies, or at least show the pictures of the 3 men who've been killed to people who were injured in the Pahalgam attack. Right. Once everyone is 100% certain, yes, this is the man we are talking about, these are the men we are talking about, is when the Indian Army, the Jammu and Kashmir Police, CRPF will come to the press, will hold that press conference and confirm what sources are already telling us.
Absolutely. Let's in fact go across to Bhavtosh for more on that. The angle that you were talking about, the identification process. And Bhavtosh, 2 people who provided logistical support as well as food to these terrorists were asked to identify the bodies, and they positively identified the bodies, is what we're given to understand as per our sources.
Well, they are in judicial custody. They were questioned for nearly 20 to 22 days. And then after that, they will be called in, and they will, in fact, be the first persons to identify at least 3 of the bodies. One of them, as we have all said, is the mastermind of Pahalgam terror attack, because this case, in fact, is not a local case. India, in fact, has gone to US and to several countries with all the evidence that they have gathered. So India has to be very cautious as far as this case is concerned. It's not a case that will be fought in courts in India, but all evidence that India gathers from here on has to be presented before several countries, to US, to everywhere. Remember this case, with this evidence, India, in fact, can approach FATF. India has already asked FATF to put Pakistan back in the grey list. So whatever happens from here on, the evidence that is gathered here has to be very cautiously, forensically and cautiously gathered, and then subsequently presented before not only in Indian courts but also before foreign countries. The DNA analysis has to be done of Suleiman Shah, and it could be possible that India might ask Pakistan to take over these bodies. Previously, whenever India has asked so, Pakistan has refused. They have always said that these are domestic terrorists, and Pakistan has refused to accept the body. Suleiman Shah, or Hashim Musa, is a Pakistan Special Forces commando, as Shia was saying, is someone who has been trained. One more important information: Suleiman Shah was also involved in killing of 7 employees of a construction firm, and when one of the associates of that terror attack was gunned down, from his phone, the photograph of these 4 terrorists who in fact were involved in Pahalgam terror attack, that was recovered, and that was in fact shared with several Central Intelligence Agency, and that's how this entire case has been built up. Now, many questions were raised by many people as to why India has forgotten about Pahalgam terror attack case. It was not forgotten. Remember, Swati, it's an investigation that has been going on for past 90 days. These agencies don't come out in open. They don't share information publicly. And finally, Army will be holding a press conference. But the real legwork has been done by individuals who, in fact, have shared the information with Army, with NIA, and they are the ones who are building the case. And they will be the ones who, in fact, be presenting all the evidence, not only in Srinagar court, where this matter will be, in fact, tried, but also be presenting the evidence before FATF or maybe before UN, because India has said that TRF should be banned, and because it's an offshoot of Lashkar-e-Toiba, so evidence will be gathered and presented before many countries in days to come.
Absolutely.